Босиком специально босиком брать, чтобы не подскользнулась нога случайно. Даже в носках нельзя. Еще ты дерешься же босиком, и тебя полностью должна нога чувствовать землю.
Еще пояс есть?
У меня два еще есть, можно дать один? Тебе заслужить надо, брат. UFC тебе заслужить надо. Так не даю, мама. Чуть-чуть осталось, мама.
Молодец, молодец. Ислам. Дорогу осилит идущие или бегущие?
Бегущий. Что накидываешь? Мне нормально, если балл я не отдам, взять не обязательно. У меня это есть понятие, как там делать. В голове получается, там не получается.
Главное намерение. По намерению же оценивается.
Что делать вообще? Нет.
Ты просто оттягивай, просто оттягивай. Сползай, сползай, сползай. Сползай, сползай. Именно.
Есть какой-то возрастной дедлайн? До какого возраста хотел бы выступать?
Нет, возрастной я не думаю. Есть пробег. Возраст не играет большую. Конечно, играет какую-то роль, но, знаешь, человек в 27-28 тоже может быть с большим пробегом, с кучей нокаутов, с кучей травм. И вот этот основной фактор грани, когда ты должен остановиться. Я маленький подхват делаю, он сразу же поставляет руку. И подо мной оказывается наоборот. Как только вы взяли ногу, если вы хотите туда перейти, надо его на себя дернуть и потом уже захват и перейти. Сразу захват. Но если вы вот так взяли, держитесь моим, потом здесь, уже не знаю, что делать. Все уже.
Ислам, есть ли бой, после которого ты сам себе сказал, вот здесь я стал другим бойцом?
Поражение. Тогда, когда я проиграл, долго я себя... не сказать, что долго, но было время, когда приходил, почему так стало. Вообще, этот период был для меня тяжелый. Я когда вернулся, потом с этим мельдонием эти сказки начались. И тяжелый период был. И тогда я много размышлял, сам себе задавал вопросы. И я думаю, вырос как боец.
Ты больше кайфуешь от победы в стиле переехать катком, как в бою с Джеком, или от победы, когда где-то перехитрил соперника и задушил без шансов?
Самое такое, то, что мне... конечно, эмоции были после чемпионского, но бой, который я пересматривал, это бой с Паре. Мы как я уже говорил, на улице мы там подрались, и еще я смог его финишировать. Кайфанул я от этого боя.
Если пришлось бы включить какой-то бой, который идеально описал бы тебя как бойца, ты бы включил бы бой с Паре, я правильно понимаю?
Я вот тяжелые бои я включил бы, знаешь. О чем это говорит? Вот, например, тот же бой с Волконовским. Это говорит, что в любом бою я пойду до конца. Вот, что бы ни было, как бы ни пошло, там, какие бы проблемы с организмом не были, пока у меня свет не выключится, я буду драться. Буду драться, буду идти вперед, но...
It's crunch time, and Islam Makhachev isn't messing around. With his upcoming fight against Ian Garry approaching, Makhachev has already begun his preparation for the match in full force, honing all his skills in his training camp. However, it is not only the rigorous training that has caught everybody's eye. In fact, Makhachev has started sharing some insight into his mentality too, telling the world what fuels him, how he sees this test, and why he thinks that this fight could be one more milestone in his career. So what is Islam sharing with the world from behind the curtains of his training camp?
Для меня вот на данный момент важно, чтобы я ушел непобежденным. Ну, не побежденным, не проиграть пояс и уйти в статус чемпиона. Но не знаю, когда это случится, потому что нравится быть в статусе чемпиона, нравится, вот, как я уже говорил, быть в форме, тренироваться, драться, вот так с ребятами выезжать. Пока мне это приносит удовольствие. Ну, вот отдыхал я сейчас 3 месяца, там 2-3 месяца был в разъездах, везде покатался. Это все быстро надоедает. Так и будет после завершения карьеры. Поиграю я этот падал, мотоцикл, лошади, там на ферму. Надоест же это все когда-то. Ну, вот это... Тем, чем ты занимался всю жизнь, это тебе не надоест. Это тебе нравится. Вот, ты же видишь, какую пользу ты ребятам приносишь. Вот на сборах 30 человек, я знаю, что они все на меня смотрят. Я должен им подать пример. Также я должен им помочь.
The fighter is not only dedicating himself to training at the gym, but is also considering his path to the top. Speaking about the past, the two-time champion admitted that there was no day when he started to believe that one day he would be the best. It happened once he managed to beat professionals despite being an amateur. This success made him think that he was ready to go further, way before he saw the combat sport as something profitable. It is important to understand that his success was built on patience and experience.
А в какой момент ты понял, что дойдешь до вершины и станешь номер один?
Я не могу такой день называть. Просто в какой момент, что я понял, что я смогу, буду бойцом ММА. Это было вот после моего дебютного... был Кубок мира по боевому самбо. Я его тогда выиграл. И на этом Кубке мира уже были действующие бойцы, там, профбойцы. Когда я их выигрывал, на чемпионатах России я дрался уже с профбойцами. Когда
выигрывал эти соревнования, тогда уже понимал, и я тренеру говорил, что я могу, что пора, я хочу бой сделать. Это не как сейчас ребята любят сразу там бои, там просят бои, чтобы заработать. На тот момент это был вообще такой очень маленький заработок на боях, но у меня уже был огромный багаж любительской карьеры. И вот тогда, вот после этих уже побед, я понял, что надо.
The same sense of confidence has been brought into the preparations for the fight. Having had some time to reflect on the path that made him the way he is today, Makhachev is now focusing on Ian Machado Garry and the brewing feud that is taking place between the two. While denying that the trash talking of his opponent has any effect on his psyche, he does admit that the banter just makes their bout even more interesting. Nevertheless, Makhachev wonders if his opponent deserves such braggadocio and that a couple of months of training would not make him an elite level wrestler.
Трешток. Как может человек вообще трештоком заниматься, который позавчера проиграл? Мне вообще без разницы на его трешток. Просто может... В этом и есть польза, но это меня никак ничем не цепляет.
Вот есть, не знаю, какие-то сложности в ее стиле?
Да, у него сложный стиль. Постоянно убегает, назад идет, отступает постоянно, его все прижимают. Такой, не сказать, что он и зрелищный соперник. Есть еще вот в плане того, что для зрелищности боя тот же Моралес умеет бороться, тот же Моралес нападает сам. Но нападает это точно не про Яна Гарри.
Вот Ян отрабатывает защиту от проходов. Надо ли тебе отрабатывать, я не знаю, стойку для того, чтобы, ну, в случае чего...
Именно да, собственно, проходы надо отрабатывать больше. Я уже говорил и повторюсь, что это так не работает. За 3-4 для полгода невозможно бороться научиться. Этот Мандалена тоже очень много отрабатывал, кого-то привлекал, там весь кемп готовился. Ну, у меня были, не знаю, сколько, 5 попыток и 5 периодов.
But in case of any further speculations regarding his approach to the future, he managed to dispel them quite quickly. Focusing on the bigger picture, the champion admitted that the concept of legacy plays a much greater role for him than beating whoever happens to have the biggest name around. It is for this reason that he thinks a bout against undefeated Michael Morales would mean much more than a fight with Ian Garry. For Makhachev, a victory over an undefeated opponent contributes a lot more to one's record than a victory over Garry, who had been defeated before.
А если ты бы, Лися, был бы в роли матчмейкера, так скажем, да, вот чисто логически, кто из них больше заслуживает?
Ну, смотри, как если я бы смотрел, но сейчас Моралес тоже. Если выбирать между Моралесом и Яном, я, честно сказать, для вот своего имени, для наследия выбрал бы Моралеса. Почему? Потому что он сейчас непобежденный. Если завтра выиграешь Яна Гарри, будет говорить, его Шавкат побеждал там несколько боев назад. И, ну, я согласен, что они оба претенденты. Еще вот я не списываю со счетов, хотя все стараются списать Камару Усмана со счетов, но дайте того же Усмана этим двум пацанам. И я не думаю, что он ему столько. Даже я больше на стороне, что Усман выиграет.
Ian Garry never intended to take those comments lying down. Upon being told by Makhachev that a bout against Michael Morales could help make his legacy more important, Garry responded immediately by calling the champion out as someone who is taking the easy way out. According to him, Morales still hasn't proven himself against the best in the weight class, and therefore the fight wouldn't mean as much as going up against him. With both of them taking potshots at each other, the rivalry keeps growing bigger and better.
Islam said he'd rather fight Morales because he's undefeated.
Of course he would. Of course he'd rather fight Morales. Because Morales hasn't beaten anyone in the sport. He said he'd rather fight Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman has won 2 fights in the last 10 he's had. He said he'd rather fight Pratchett, a man who I beat. He'd rather fight anybody except me.
However, not everyone thinks that the bout between Makhachev and Ian Garry will be an easy night for the former. The retired UFC commentator Din Thomas thought that fans might overlook the true danger that is Garry. Referring to the recent trend of seemingly invincible champions getting shocking losses, Din felt that this could happen to Makhachev as well if he undervalues his foe. It seems that the skill set of Garry is often overlooked due to his loud and confident nature. It turns out that Garry's movement, fight intelligence, continuous development, development and the ability to solve tough problems is much more dangerous than people believe.
History here, he's #1 pound for pound, but what have we just seen in the past few months? We've seen the three of the top pound for pound guys. Alex Pereira lost, Ilia Topuria lost, Hamzat Chimaev lost. If I was Ian Garry, I'd feel very good about this.
This is one of them years, and it comes around often where we just start seeing guys get knocked off that you didn't expect them to get knocked off. Ian Garry's really good. And sometimes we forget how good he is because we want to not like him because he says things or does things, or when we vilify a fighter, we tend to hang on to that. And we've done that with Ian Garry. Like whatever he did in the past, we tend to hang on to that. And then we also forget about how good he really is. He's got great footwork. He's got a really high IQ for fighting. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's long, he's rangy, he's got a lot of experience now. He's always been getting better along the way. And he's got wins over guys
Thomas reiterated this point by outlining how the fighting style of Garry would be especially problematic for the champion. According to him, Makhachev has been analyzed so much that any other contender has enough time to study all the fights and see what mistakes were made by others. Instead of repeating the strategies that did not work in the past, Thomas believes that Garry is smart enough to come up with something new. This, along with his height and reach, means that he can catch his rival off guard and make the fight much tougher than expected.
What I guess about that skill set that he has thinks he can trouble Islam.
Well, one, his length. And another thing that you also have to consider too, when you're dealing with a guy like Islam who's so good everywhere, but there's also a lot of tape on him. You know, there's a lot of ways to look at what he does and how he's beaten everybody else and how everybody else has failed. And so now you start to look at that and go, well, this doesn't work, so we can eliminate this. We've seen Jack try to do it. We've seen Poirier try to do it. We've seen all these guys try to stay away from him in this way. So now we got to come up with another way, or we got to force him into different spots. And that's what I mean about the IQ of Ian, is that he's a smart enough guy to know these things. And he's really intelligent. He doesn't get flustered by big moments. He doesn't panic in fights. He always fights with it.
As much as everybody is supporting Makhachev, MMA Guru thought that ignoring Ian Garry was not wise. He said that looking at the series of unexpected results in recent times in the sport, there was a chance of an upset result that might happen. In light of the number of surprises that have been happening lately, he thought that Garry could also be that fighter who will cause an upset this time around. On the other hand, he also realized what Makhachev had to prove, that his victory would place him among the greatest of all time.
But maybe, just maybe, despite him being against the odds, because we know Islam Makhachev's going to be a favorite here, maybe, just maybe, the boys and co do it again. Okay? Hear me out. Strickland pulled it off against Chimaev. Gaethje just pulled off the impossible against Ilia Topuria. And you're telling me that I shouldn't pick Ian Machado Garry to defeat Islam Makhachev in the main event and school him over 5 rounds? Come on! This is how it works, right? This is just the way things go, folks. I don't make the rules of MMA. I really don't. But there's an underdog there. And his name's Ian Machado Garry. And he should lose. And Islam Makhachev's on this GOAT horizon. And man, if he wins this one, we may have to have some uncomfortable...
MMA Guru also pushed back against the idea that Makhachev's wrestling automatically guarantees victory. He pointed to Alexander Volkanovski's competitive first fight with Islam as evidence that the champion can be challenged under the right circumstances. In his view, Garry's size, striking ability, and improved all-around game make him a far different test than many are giving him credit for. Guru also dismissed viral training clips showing Garry being taken down, arguing that isolated moments from sparring prove very little and should not be treated as a reliable indicator of how he will perform when the lights are on.
Volkanovski took this guy to a razor-close decision. That's a featherweight. That's a featherweight Volk right there. Listen, maybe he's past his prime now, whatever you want to say, but when he first moved up to take on Makhachev at lightweight, he had Makhachev clinging on for dear life in round 5. You're telling me he's going to take out 6'3" Ian Garry, who shut down Carlos Prates on the feet? Listen, Ian Garry's grappling People are looking at a video of him online against that Alexei Pegrand guy or whatever his name is, something along those lines, who trains with a lot of the top fighters, and he records himself. He's an upcoming fighter himself, a lightweight, and he scored a takedown on Ian Garry, and he had his back for a second, and there's all this training footage of Ian Garry being taken down by someone and all of this. But that doesn't...
However, if anyone knows what makes Makhachev so difficult to beat, it is his longtime coach, Javier Mendez. According to Mendez, the champion's greatest strength is not just his skill, but his complete professionalism and willingness to follow every instruction without hesitation. He explained that Makhachev never needs motivation or mental preparation because he arrives ready to work every single day. Whether the game plan changes between rounds or in the middle of a fight, Makhachev adapts instantly. That unwavering discipline, Mendez believes, is exactly why Islam deserves to sit atop the pound-for-pound rankings.
Islam's training. He's a professional. This is the guy that you just wind him up, let him go. He's learned everything so well. You know, Islam is the one fighter that I don't have to worry if I'm with them or not with them. I don't need to work his mental. I don't need to work nothing. All I need to do is me and Habib, we just tell him what the game plan is. He'll execute it. And I've always said it time and time again. He's the kind of guy we can change round by round, minute by minute, second by second, and he'll just follow our instructions. I've never known Islam Makhachev not to follow Habib's or my instructions or the other coach, Steve Sapula's advice on how he should fight. He is the perfect professional, and he is the guy that deserves to be pound for pound number one. And he is for that.
Mendez also believes the move to welterweight has been a positive change for his star pupil. In his view, Makhachev no longer has to put his body through the same brutal weight cut that came with competing at lightweight, allowing him to focus more on training than dieting. The coach revealed that Islam has added more size and strength through weightlifting while still maintaining the work ethic that made him a champion. Although Mendez expects Makhachev to continue cutting weight before fights, he believes the bigger, stronger version of Islam could become an even more dangerous force inside the octagon.
Very reason.
Is he enjoying being at welterweight, like being able to not have to cut as much weight, being able to sort of not worry about reducing calories to a crazy extent? Is he enjoying actually being a welterweight champion versus lightweight?
I'm sure he's enjoying it because he's become a legendary fighter now. No matter what happens, he's a legendary fighter, and he's going to be considered in the pound for pound list. Where he ranks in the pound for pound list when he's finished, we'll see. But the eating part, I think he loves the fact because this man loves to train. And Saif Safula, the coach that's with him the most, is getting him lifting weights, and he's bigger. He's bigger. I told you guys, Islam was bigger, so he's a much bigger guy. So it could very well be that when he loses weight, he loses maybe the same amount of kilos that he did when he was a lightweight, you know, because he's a bigger version of.
So what do you make of Islam Makhachev's training, his mindset, and everything he's had to say ahead of his clash with Ian Machado Garry? Is the champion on his way to another dominant victory, or do you think Garry has what it takes to pull off the upset? Let us know your predictions in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next MMA breakdown.